How was there any possibility of you moving up in the draft or doing anything other than keeping your pick?
No, this year there wasn't a ton. I think we laughed. We didn't have a call for the first hour of the draft, so it was fairly quiet this year.
You did.
What's the follow-up? No.
Bobby,
Nothing otherwise, Mike.
Yeah.
Bobby, Nick said that the team's been keeping tabs on Koloko for a long time, that he had like a home film thing that happened a long time ago. Can you run us through how long you've been keeping tabs on him?
Yeah, I think first 2017 Basketball Without Borders, I believe in South Africa, was the first time he kind of came on the scene. Then I'm trying to get the timeline right. Then he came to the States. He was in Los Angeles. His sister was there, and he went to high school at the I think well-known Sierra Canyon, where a bunch of guys go. And then he went from there. I think it was 2 years at Sierra Canyon and then 3 years at Arizona. But yeah, first 2017 in Johannesburg.
What were your first impressions, or what was the organization's first impressions in 2017?
You know, a long, skinny, lanky kid. But I think you asked why you followed the development, and now 5 years later, you know, you see the progression. I think even the time at Arizona, you know, from when you first went there to, I think, Defensive Player of the Year this year, I think it's just, you know, you want to continue to see that climb, and everyone knows, you know, our development and the amount of resources we want to put into a guy like him. You know, really the sky's the limit.
Bobby,
Looking back on that,
Sorry, do you have a good feel of like if he can make more of an immediate impact, or if this is like a long-term plan, or like, you know, do you have a good feel of him yet?
You know, listen, historically the second round picks, it's a different journey. You know, I think there's, you know, when you come in like Scotty, you come in as a first round pick, there's a bit more expectation and you know, maybe responsibility that you hold. But yeah, I mean, I think we're not one to, you know, put any boxes around these guys. So if he comes in and he'll be on summer league, and we'll see what he can do. So you know, I think we're going in pretty open minded.
probably looking back on that young deal and the comfort you guys had in moving from 20 to 33, did things kind of shake out the way you expected?
Yeah, I have to go back and look where our final one. But I think I told you all a couple of days ago we needed like 20 or 25, and so he was in that group.
Bobby, like I see reporting that you guys signed Marco Jr. into a two-way deal. Can you confirm that for us?
I don't know what I'm allowed to confirm, but that's probably the coolest story of the night. If you go look who Wayne Embry drafted in, I think 1986, he just told me, was his dad. So, full circle.
How important was it to get a guy with 7 foot size or that kind of size into this organization this year?
You know, it was best available, to be honest. I can go, but you know, you guys laugh, but you know, if you ever saw the draft board, you know. But you know, obviously we liked him, we followed him, but you know, he's not number one on the board, so there has to have some, you know, order. But yeah, it just so happened that he was there.
Or was that something in general, whether free agency, or was that adding size to this roster something that you guys wanted to do in some avenue, or not?
Yeah, I think it's something, yeah, we've talked about in the past, obviously free agency. I would say like we try to look at the draft independently of need. Kind of what I talked about is just truly the player that we think will fit with us. I think with free agency you can probably address it more specifically, but I think historically everybody's known in the draft, go get the best player, and if there's duplicates or if there's an opening, you know, teams are fungible and you can make trades and stuff.
Do you have a reaction from Pascal about the pick? Did you talk to him about it, or talk to him before, or sort of what's the news there?
Yeah, I knew Christian was an option, so either yesterday or today, Pascal's up here. So obviously he knows the kid's story. He said he doesn't know him, you know, a ton socially, but I think that they had interacted in LA while Christian was out there, and Pascal trains out there either last summer or a prior summer. So I know they have some acquaintance level relationship.
Well, in the past, intangibles and character has been a big thing for you guys in the draft. Can you talk a little bit about Christian's character, and are there any stories that stick out from the pre-draft process, either ones maybe someone else told you about him?
I mean, I think if you just think of the story, right? So I saw some footage they put online, right? So I think he's probably 15 or 16 there, and then to see where he's come, you know, not that far later at 22. So I think it's just the hard work, the commitment, the, you know, kind of want and ability to grow. So all of those things are wrapped up in it, and I think it's shown obviously when we interviewed him, but then it's shown on the court too. So I think, you know, the culmination was a really incredible year at Arizona that probably he even got better from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. So more of that, which is, you know, what we love here.
Do you want to tell us how high up on your board he was?
I think I said he was in our top 20 or top 25, whatever our list was that we were comfortable with. At 33, he was there.
You mentioned with the draft, you know, it's best player available, and then with free agency, you can be more specific. Do you view Koloko as someone who maybe has addressed that need and moved somewhere else going forward, or do you still feel like you have those same needs to address going into free agency?
You know, we'll still look at the position. I don't think that it precludes us from, you know, obviously we had free agency plans prior to this, and so I think those are still the same.
We were asking Nick about how he's different than the rest of the roster. How do you feel he fits defensively? Do you think he can do some of that switching and that aggressive style that you guys have played?
I think he can do that. I think why we like him is because he's a rim protector, and he's that part of his game we think he can work on, right? And so the lateral stuff. But I think, yeah, I mean, he's 7 foot. I'm not sure what his wingspan or standing reach is, but it definitely is. It is something that we do not have. I think to the earlier question is when can he contribute? I think that's probably a fair question, and we probably won't know until we get to be around him a little bit more. But yeah, I think as far as like a 7 foot rim protector that we don't have, that's what he is.
Nick was talking a bit about how he's going to probably spend some time at the 905. Can you just talk a bit to, you know, why that's important to his development there?
Oh, huge. I mean, probably other than Scotty or maybe OG, because he started that first year. I think everyone on our team's been through, and most of it's just the reps, the high level game reps that he'll get. And I think we'll see pretty soon. I think how much of that he'll need or if he's ready to contribute. But it's a great option that we have, and knowing that the system's the same. I think everybody saw with Delano and Justin and those guys this year it's just an opportunity for them to play, especially if you're not playing meaningful minutes on the NBA team.
It might just be a coincidence that you guys now have a few guys on the team who kind of picked up basketball a little later in life. Is that something you guys look at, or is it just about the development trajectory and getting better over the years?
Yeah, I see it's probably the latter, the trajectory, right? I think we like to see that curve. But there were other guys that we were considering in the draft that are, maybe to your point, more traditional, started playing, at a younger age. But I don't know, there's a lot of guys on our team that played basketball a long time.
What are you expecting, I guess, from, Pascal specifically, and then just the rest of your leadership group, bringing in a new player into the roster? What kind of role do you want them to take on as just an off-court leader and a mentor?
Yeah, I think, anyone coming into a new situation, you want to be embraced, you want to have a warm welcome, so we'll do that. Unfortunately, he can't come up here because of his visa situation, but we'll see him in Vegas, and I think at first is, warm. This is our family. Like I think it's how anyone would want to be welcomed into a new group.
And with that visa situation, you just talked a bit about that, and sort of when are you expecting him to be able to visit Toronto?
Yeah, as soon as he signs his contract, he'll get his work permit. So it's not a lengthy issue. It's just I think when you have a student visa and you leave the country, you can't go back into the U.S. Same thing happened, I think, when we drafted Pascal and Yaka. We had to do a workout in Buffalo, but as soon as they signed their contract, which I think July 1 he'll be able to, but we'll probably be in Vegas. I'm not sure when he'll actually come up.
So just to be clear, did he work out for you, and if so, where?
He was not able to work out for us. We were trying to plan a Buffalo workout like we did, but we couldn't have the dates work out.
So picking him was based on basically your knowledge of just seeing him in Arizona, or?
We met with him in Chicago at the Combine, so we had an in-person interview with him.
Bobby, have you guys started the process of finding the next 905?
Great question. We have. I don't have any news to share, but we're going to start more seriously now that the draft is done, but we kind of have an idea of where we want to go. But yeah, that'll hopefully start more seriously next week.
Seeing that you only had a draft combine interview, what stood out in that interview to you?
Seriousness, level of love for the game, wanting to get better. one thing I told the other day is if you sit down and have dinner or 30 minutes, you get we feel like you get a pretty good sense of who they are. So I think that was it. Like, wanted to be here, wants to get better. Seemed like a good kid. All the background checked out on him. So.